As our community enters into its third decade, we're very conscious that the roots have gone down deep into the Christian world. The Christian ecumenical community has come into being, which brings people of different generations together and has opened us into a rich and wonderful dialogue with the followers of other faiths and with the secular world. But as these roots have gone deeper, we've also been aware that branches have begun to spread. And so we've developed a program, an outreach of our community, that we are calling Meditatio. The Meditatio allows us to develop these branches while remaining rooted in the tradition and in the essential simplicity of our teaching. From a house in Kensington, in London, we're able to coordinate many aspects of this new outreach. Meditatio will proceed through a series of seminars on an annual basis in which we will engage in dialogue with experts and practitioners in these different fields. The symbol of the world community is an ancient Christian, indeed an ancient religious symbol, of two birds sitting on the edge of a cup or a chalice, one representing the contemplative life and the other the active life. And the world community expresses, like any true contemplative organization or contemplative community, this balance between contemplation and action. No genuine contemplative life can exist without expressing itself in terms of justice, peace, and compassion. The fruits of meditation are really the fruits of the Spirit. St. Paul describes these as love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, fidelity, gentleness, and self-control. And we find these fruits of meditation, the fruits of the Spirit, both at an individual, personal level and in the life of a community. The meeting of world religions in a spirit of friendship and collaboration for the good of the world is one of the most important developments in modern times. Meditation is crucial to this deepening of interreligious friendship and dialogue. We find meditation at the heart of every one of the great religious traditions. And by entering into that heart of our own tradition, the contemplative core of our own spiritual path, we find the common ground of humanity. By sharing and experiencing this common ground, we find ourselves empowered to work together in very real and practical ways for the well-being of the world and for the relief of the poor, the relief of human suffering, and the promotion of peace and justice. In 1994, the Dalai Lama led the John Main Seminar, which became a milestone in the history of interreligious dialogue, when he spent several days commenting from his Buddhist perspective upon the teachings of Jesus in the Gospel. One of the fruits of the Good Heart Seminar was the Way of Peace. This began as a 3-year program with the Dalai Lama, incorporating the elements of pilgrimage to each other's sacred sites, of retreat together, and also of sharing in the work of bringing healing and reconciliation to those parts of the world which were troubled by violence or conflict. In the year 2000, the Dalai Lama led other presenters of the John Main Seminar in an important initiative in Belfast in Northern Ireland. After the 3-year process, the Way of Peace continued as a way of illustrating the contribution of contemplation, contemplative life, and of interreligious dialogue to the healing of the divisions within the human family. Our dialogue with the Muslim world began with an important seminar in York University, which brought together about 200 Christians and Muslims, young people and scholars, to reflect upon the common ground of their contemplative traditions. In Sarajevo, we worked to try to bring reconciliation between the Christian and Muslim communities. And in New York University, Muslim and Christian students were able to come together in that same spirit of dialogue and friendship grounded in the practice of meditation. In many ways, in the developed world, meditation is seen to be restricted to the middle classes. But meditation is a way of poverty of spirit, as Jesus describes it. And therefore it is especially relevant to those people who are materially poor. And the work of our community has brought us into contact with the poor in the favelas of Brazil, in the villages of Indonesia or India. In Haiti, I was amazed to see the response in this poorest of all countries in the Western Hemisphere of the poor to meditation. There is a special significance in teaching meditation in the developing world. The sense of self, the true self, the sense of real human dignity that arises through the practice of meditation has a powerful and important contribution to make to social justice and to change in our world. Perhaps it is in seeing the natural and beautiful response of children to meditation that we can all understand better how simple and natural meditation is. Children can meditate, and they like to meditate, and their response teaches us something very important about the meaning of our own spiritual journey. The teaching of meditation to children opens our eyes both to the real meaning of meditation, a simple and natural way of spiritual growth and development, of bringing our humanity into wholeness and harmony. But it also gives us an insight into how we can allow our children to make a better world. Our hope for the environment, our hope for better standards of living, quality of life, our hope for more truly humane values, for the moderation that we need in order to protect our ecology. These are essential intuitive values that have to grow in us from childhood on. And so the teaching of meditation to children is a real contribution to the healing of our wounded world. Students and young adults today face enormous challenges. Life is full of unpredictable situations, many difficult choices. Meditation can offer them a life-giving simplicity and a refreshing way of finding clarity in these confusing situations. At the John Main Center for Meditation and Interreligious Dialogue at Georgetown University, the center offers daily meditation twice a day and also a support and encouragement to learn meditation in these formative years.
To me, it's really a way to kind of take yourself away from the stresses that especially students can so often get wrapped up in. And especially here at Georgetown, there are so many students that are really, really motivated and focused, and you have to study and work hard to get to where we are. And it kind of helps you to find a simpler meaning in life and a deeper meaning in life. Even if it is just for that 30 minutes and then you go back to the student life, it helps you to be more centered. And as midterms came, because we're doing midterms right now, I found that it really helped me to not to be less focused, but to be more calm and tranquil about it. And it's helping me, even with my studies. So
first, you're sort of very, very focused on getting the actual practice down right. You're sort of thinking more about what you're supposed to do rather than what you're trying to get out of it. And so the first few, I think that it's very difficult to figure out what you're really trying to get at from the first few meditations. You're so worried about, am I sitting upright? Am I thinking about the mantra too much? But then I think once you get past that period, then you can sort of reflect more on how you've progressed.
One of the great spiritual movements of modern times is the 12-step program, the way of dealing with addiction, one of the great problems of the modern world. The 11th step is to find God through prayer and meditation.
Meditation in the context of the 11th step, for me, means something practical, something experiential. Before meditation, my concept of a higher power and contact with a higher power was largely something intellectual. Now it's something that I have a method to practice and a way to feel. So progressively, it's become something more and more of the heart and less of the head.
At a certain stage in this program of recovery, many people discover in meditation a way of living that 11th step at the deepest and fullest level. One of the ways in which Christianity is being renewed and indeed even rediscovered in our own time is to see it as a way of healing. The early Christians saw Jesus as the divine physician, the Eucharist as the medicine of immortality. The language of the early church was much more about healing than of judgment or moral condemnation. And it's in the contemplative renewal of the church that we rediscover the true meaning of health, of healing, the therapy of prayer. This finds expression in our community in the way in which many meditators bring the gift of contemplative prayer to those who are sick or to those who are dying.
That capacity, that availability of an ocean of oneness and peace, the fact that that is immediately available to all of us if we stop spinning our wheels long enough just to recognize it. That has been very, very real.
Meditation prepares us for death, because every time we meditate, we are dying. We are experiencing what death is. It's not easy. It's a loss. It's a separation. And yet at the same time, it's teaching us that we don't need to fear it, because it isn't the end. It isn't extinction. It isn't obliteration. It is death. But it is a passage. It is a part of the journey. In some hospitals, meditators run programs introducing meditation to the patients and to the carers. There are not many people in the world today who don't recognize that something has gone wrong with the way we do business and with our attitude to work. Developing a right attitude to work and right ways of approaching profit, commercial development, the use of the environment, these are intuitive responses that have to grow from an inner experience of what is good, the goodness of human nature. These are not values that can only be imposed by law or by force from the outside.
The recent financial crisis was symptomatic of the culture of greed and short-termism that had come to pervade our business world in the last 20 years or so. Action is being taken to prevent a recurrence of similar crises, such as legislative action for international financial reform, improvements in standards of corporate governance, and changes to incentive compensation systems. But for lasting change to take place, there has to be a change of consciousness in the way we do business. This transformation of consciousness has to happen, first of all, at the personal level. For it is said, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me."
By experiencing the community that meditation creates, we are able to understand the meaning of meditation for the world we're living in today. We live in a world of crisis. In so many areas of the world, in many areas of our lives, we discover that we are in crisis. The word for crisis means judgment in Greek. The Chinese character for crisis means both opportunity but also danger. In discovering meditation, the great common human wisdom of this path of interiority, this path of silence, stillness and simplicity, we discover a way of approaching that crisis to make it a time of growth, a time of evolution for human consciousness. The essence of meditation is attention. The essence of attention is being simple, being present, being awake. It is this quality of simple being, of simple attention, that will allow the teaching of meditation to make its most effective contribution to the world in which we are moving into a new and potentially better future. We hope that this simplicity, which is at the heart of meditation itself, will teach us that the heart of the human being is itself a place of wonder, of beauty, of generosity, of goodness, and of love. The simplicity of the human heart is what meditation is all about.
The mystery of love is that we become what we delight to gaze upon, and so when we have opened our hearts to the light, we become light. The mystery